In June 2024, at the U.S. Federal Reserve, a staggering 33 terabytes of sensitive U.S. banking data disappeared into thin air. Every monitor displayed a single, ominous ransom demand. Dismiss your negotiator. $50,000 is a joke. The malware bore the unmistakable mark of Lockbit, the most ruthless ransomware plaguing the globe. At its helm was Dmitry Korv, a shadowy figure whose operation had crippled over 2,000 organizations spanning 120 nations, from Boeing and healthcare facilities to financial institutions and even the FBI. The profits? Already exceeding $100 million and climbing. What's truly mind-blowing is this. Authorities have pinpointed his identity precisely. They've raided his servers, rounded up his associates, and slapped a $10 million reward on his capture. Yet, even now, Dmitry commands roughly 40% of the world's ransomware incidents. He revolutionized cybercrime, turning it into a franchised empire, akin to how McDonald's mass-produces fast food. Aspiring hackers sign up, select their marks, and divvy up the earnings. But how does a single individual dominate nearly half of global cyber intrusions, and why does he remain at large? Flashback to autumn 2019 in VORQIN, Russia. A 26-year-old coder hunkered down in a cluttered flat, his hands blurring over the keys. By daylight, he was Dmitry Korosev, an unassuming local. In the digital shadows, he went by Lockbit, a pseudonym whispered on Russian cyber forums. Unbeknownst to all, he harbored a deeper secret, one that would unlock the secrets of his mindset, his strategies, and why standard policing tactics could never snare him. Amid scattered cans of energy drinks and the harsh glow of programming windows, Dmitry wasn't scheming a lone bank robbery or a fleeting worm. His ambition soared higher, to upend the entire hacking landscape. Ditching the old-school mob structure, he envisioned himself as the overlord of a vast network of independent operators. In that poorly lit space, Dmitry assembled an innovative ransomware-as-a-service system. The model was simple. He supplied the advanced virus and back-end support, while partner criminals, known as affiliates, handled the intrusions. Once an affiliate locked down a target and secured payment, Dmitry skimmed his share from the haul. No tight-knit team, but a business model, not just a coder, but the executive head of a criminal syndicate. What convinced battle-tested crooks to back an unknown 26-year-old? It boiled down to a clever snippet of programming Dmitry embedded, a built-in safeguard that would one day rescue his operation from total collapse. Within months, his invention hit the dark web under the name Lockbit. Its interface was polished for the criminal elite, a hidden portal where users could access, customize ransomware kits with user-friendly tools, and monitor targets via an intuitive panel. It featured quasi-help desk assistance for deal-making, plus a notorious exposure page that doxed non-payers by dumping their pilfered info. Each entry included a relentless timer. Settle the debt or watch your confidential files flood the net. For those eyeing fast cash, it was a digital bonanza. Dmitry's terms were irresistible. Affiliates pocketed 80% of ransoms, with 20% routing to Lockbit's coffers. This was wrongdoing reimagined as a streamlined enterprise, wildly lucrative and audaciously smooth. By 2021, the Lockbit network surged forward. The 2.0 edition of the software proved deadlier still, and buzz echoed through the web's underbelly. When it came to extorting corporations, Lockbit became the go-to weapon. That year, it grabbed international attention by targeting Accenture, one of the planet's top tech firms, spilling heaps of files and extorting $50 million. Security pros were in disarray. This bold newcomer was outmaneuvering even the toughest safeguards. With every assault, Dmitry's standing in hacker havens solidified. Though he stayed anonymous under his handle, partners lauded the venture's slick professionalism. Regular patches like legit app drops, complete with a reward scheme for spotting glitches. Lockbit 3.0 debuted in 2022, complete with a hacker challenge to uncover vulnerabilities, offering payouts up to $1 million. A dark twist on Tech Hub creativity. Unseen by others, Dmitry intentionally overlooked a particular flaw he'd spotted himself. That vulnerability would evolve into his ultimate backup plan. The stats were jaw-dropping. By the end of 2023, Lockbit allegedly fueled about 40% of global ransomware hits. Dmitry's creation had ensnared more than 2,000 targets across at least 120 countries, ranging from mom-and-pop shops to colossal enterprises, and raked in over $100 million in extortions. Its shaming portal doubled as a rogues gallery of major players: corporations, medical centers, lenders, carriers, public offices. No sector was safe. Weekly, another big brand entity awoke to encrypted files and a Lockbit clock winding down. Through it all, the architect of Lockbit evaded the spotlight. Dmitry lurked in the background, his array of displays feeding a fortune straight into his cryptocurrency holdings. But he slipped up. In fact, 3 critical errors. The initial one unfolded on an unremarkable Tuesday when he placed a routine order for pizza. His next blunder loomed precisely 47 days away. The question lingers, had anyone caught on? And what could a simple pizza order possibly mean to the FBI? Even more crucial, what exactly was that backup measure? How might it protect him once Operation Kronos launched its assault? On February 19, 2024, in the dim hours before dawn in London, a team of 12 analysts huddles in a heavily secured cyber operations hub, their eyes locked on a vast array of screens with tense determination. After months of relentless pursuit against the Lockbit Group, the moment has arrived for retaliation. Precisely at 5 a.m., Greenwich Mean Time, a synchronized operation erupts over 7 nations. Dutch authorities in Amsterdam storm a key data facility and yank the power from essential servers. In Frankfurt, teams confiscate rows of humming equipment believed to form Lockbit's core support systems. At the same instant, in the US, France, and several other locations, operatives target 34 sites, including web hosts, proxy setups, and data repositories, all bearing traces of Lockbit's operations. This marks the most sweeping assault yet on a ransomware network. At least that's the assumption. Recall that pizza Dmitry Korv had delivered? The drop-off point wasn't his residence. It led straight to one of those very data centers. And the details on the order slip? That's the real hook. Almost immediately, Dmitry's elite dark web gateways flicker out. The Lockbit disclosure page, previously flaunting fresh extortion targets every day, vanishes into thin air. On shadowy online boards, partners in crime exchange desperate queries. Server unreachable. What's going on? Alarm ripples through the underworld of cybercriminals who depended on Lockbit's systems for their shakedowns. For the authorities, it's a glaring triumph. Yet the pursuit presses on. In a daring maneuver, probe teams had devised a unique counter for the group's main online front. Rather than just dismantling it, the UK National Crime Agency seizes control. Those notorious timers on the Lockbit page, designed to bully victims into paying, now pulse with a different purpose. Anyone stumbling onto the altered domain encounters a cascade of exposures aimed at Lockbit's inner workings. Gone are the corporate targets and payment ultimatums. Instead, fragments of the syndicate's hidden dealings emerge in sequence. The predators have flipped the script. The initial reveal is tagged as the unmasking of Lockbit's chief, its clock winding down with foreboding intensity. For the first time, Lockbit's top figure experiences the flames directed inward. Or so it seems. Right then, Dmitry Korv does the unforeseen. He grins and enters just 4 words into a private channel. 4 words poised to reshape the landscape. In the days that follow, further strikes hit hard. Officials report captures. A Lockbit collaborator nabbed in Ukraine, another in Poland. These are the very coders who unleashed the ransomware on unsuspecting marks. Key players in Dmitri's distributed operation. The chain reaction builds. As experts sift through the captured hardware, they strike digital gold. Lockbit's internal logs surface. And here's the twist. A roster of 188 collaborators appears, plus a single confiscated cryptocurrency account brimming with thousands of bitcoins, valued at tens of millions. The team even salvages hundreds of recovery codes for Lockbit ransomware infections. Codes capable of unlocking compromised systems. Just a week later, a no-cost recovery utility launches, enabling past victims to reclaim their files and stripping Lockbit of its hold on them. At media briefings, representatives from the FBI, NCA, Europol, and others proclaim a landmark success. At last, the ransomware overlord appears to suffer a genuine setback. But amid the cheers and front-page stories, a nagging reality persists. Lockbit's architect is still at large. In Voronezh, Dmitry Korv observes the asset forfeiture alerts across 3 displays, his teeth grit. Decades of effort. Erased in 5 hours flat. His secure device vibrates endlessly. Partners clamoring for explanations, a few issuing ultimatums. His domain bleeds $3 million daily. He rises, paces to the glass. Beyond snow blankets, Russia's quiet avenues. No patrol vehicles anywhere. They might grab his hardware, but reaching him here? Impossible. He flexes his fingers. Keys 4 words into the encrypted line. Give me 4 days. 4 days? What could he forge in that span? By February 24, 2024, a fresh darknet link buzzes through hacker networks. Lockbit resurfaces. Even with scores of machines impounded, Dmitry had stashed redundancies. He'd subtly divided his setup, ensuring Operation Kronos crippled only a fraction of his web. Now, he activates his fallback strategy. He fires up replacement servers, bolsters security protocols, and broadcasts a bold update to his network. We're not finished. In a virtual discussion, Lockbit's head dismisses the raid as a cheap exploit of a familiar flaw in obsolete code, mocking that it won't repeat. To thwart future disruptions, he fragments the operation entirely. The partner access hub scatters over numerous hidden nodes, reachable solely by screened allies. He brands it Rebuilt Lockbit 4.0, an upgraded fortress, more fortified and suspicious than before. The revival packs dramatic punch. The revived Lockbit victim roster boldly parades a batch of recent conquests. Among them are genuine targets, while others are outright fabrications. In a bold ploy, the site even lists the FBI itself as a victim, a blatant falsehood, yet the intent rings loud. Dmitry is flaunting his defiance toward the authorities. He recycles data from prior breaches and issues wild ultimatums, at one stage vowing to leak confidential files tied to a court matter involving Trump. It's all hype designed to portray Lockbit as a formidable threat once more. Yet beneath the bravado, the truth is far more uneven. The Kronos operation shook Dmitry's network to its core. Leaks from law enforcement expose humiliating truths. Evidently, more than half of Lockbit's partners failed to collect any earnings from their intrusions. Numerous affiliates were either duped or apprehended prior to cashing in. To emphasize, over 50% went unpaid. That implies Dmitry pocketed about 75% of the total ransoms, far exceeding the 20% cut he publicly boasted. Such disclosures breed suspicion within his circle, prompting potential hackers to question whether allying with Lockbit justifies the peril. May 7, 2024. The U.S. Attorney General approaches the microphone and unveils a bundle of indictments. For the first time, Dmitry Yuryevich Korv is publicly identified as Lockbit's founder and operator. This reveal syncs with international partners. The UK and EU roll out sanctions, locking down any assets Dmitry might possess in their territories. The U.S. State Department sets a $10 million reward for tips leading to his capture. A poetic twist. Dmitry had once smugly dangled $10 million of his own funds to anyone unmasking him, utterly confident in his anonymity. Now, that identical figure hangs over him as a price on his head. Still, that bounty raises eyebrows. The FBI has disbursed precisely that sum just 3 times before, and in each instance, the fugitive was nabbed within 2 months. It's now been over 200 days since Dmitry's reward went live. How is he evading them? The explanation is straightforward and chilling. Certain parties prefer him at large. But who, and for what reason? Exposure doesn't equate to arrest, though. In Russia, Dmitry stays unmolested, shielded by a regime that refuses to hand over its cybercriminals to Western nations. He faces scant danger domestically. Indeed, amid global outrage, he appears unfazed. Accounts indicate he persists in his routine back home. No hidden lair or desperate flight. He's out there maintaining his garden. Locals spot the unassuming 31-year-old in everyday activities, even as the FBI blasts his image on wanted posters worldwide. But should he avoid traveling to any extradition-aligned country, Dmitry remains beyond reach. By the start of June 2024, scarcely a month post-reveal, Dmitry aims to demonstrate that neither charges nor rewards have hampered his momentum. In a flashy display of power, the revamped Lockbit declares a penetration into a pillar of international banking, the U.S. Federal Reserve. Recall that initial glitch on screen 3 weeks prior to the strike? That marked Dmitry's second error, probing his entry prematurely. His third blunder, potentially catastrophic, involved reusing the identical pizza delivery for his Triumph Bash. Same alias, same server farm location. This time, observers were alert. They had anticipated just this signature. It's a coup that eclipses everything before. Purportedly 33 terabytes of Fed data now under their control. Doubters debate whether the crew truly pierced the Fed or merely rode on a minor breach at a vendor bank. Regardless, the extortion demand hits the public domain, and the timer begins. The group shares a cocky message, urging authorities to bring in a sharper bargainer and mocking their $50,000 counter. The subtext is unmistakable. Dmitry Korv, freshly among the globe's top fugitives, is brazenly taunting the giants. Is he genuinely beyond grasp? The former ransomware overlord, exposed and disgraced, persists in operating visibly. Officials disrupted his setups and broadcast his face on headlines. And yet, he still calls the shots against the West. It borders on the ridiculous. It's enraging, and it begs a grim query. Despite the raids, coalitions, and rhetoric, is there truly a way to halt the planet's most lethal cybercriminal?